everyone, and welcome to Abridging a Series. Now, I am EliteslayerX. I am one of the co-creators of Ranma 1/2, the Abridged Chronicles, and the audience is Zomgruler, the other co-creator. Now, I do most of the writing, some of the voice acting, and all the video editing. So that's my experience with Abridged series. And so this panel will be all about what goes into making a Abridged series, what makes them great, and at the end we will have audience volunteers come up to record their voices for an Abridged special. The episode we call, the anime we will be abridging is Mawaru Penguin Drum. I see at least someone has watched it. Yes. It is a very weird series, but that's besides the point. You'll see as we get to it. So, let's begin with the basic question, which I'm pretty sure everyone knows the answer for. What is an Abridged series? Is there anyone here who doesn't know what an Abridged series is? Don't lie to me. Okay then, so we can skip this part. It's basically the general information, where they come from, what they are. Yes, Little Karibo is a fanime. He's a great guy if you ever got the chance to meet him. I don't know if he'll be able to stop by this panel, but we shall see. Now at this point, pretty much every anime there is has at least someone thinking about abridging it. Some series have been abridged more than once, some just have a trailer art from someone who never got around to making it, but if there's an anime, there's probably someone who wants to make an abridged series of it. It's kind of like the abridged version of Rule 34. So, this is stuff you already know, so let's do some audience participation. Just some thoughts from you guys. What makes a good abridged series? What series do you watch? What is there that they do that you enjoy about them? Let's see some hands out there. Yes, what's up?
Timing.
Yes, timing is essential. I mean, it's an important part for any sort of comedy. You just got to make sure you can get the jokes out there right with the proper timing. No stalling, make sure the audience just follows it along, and bam, humor. Anyone else? Voice acting, yes, incredibly important. I mean, you got to have a good variety to match all the different characters. You also want to have voices that make people go, oh wow, that sounds pretty similar to the actual voice, or hey, that's just so ridiculous, it's funny. And you were raising your hand just a second ago?
They got mine.
Okay, also the voices. Alright, so making a Abridged series is more than just, talking into a microphone and saying some funny things. It takes a lot of work to actually get something that's good out there. There are a few recurring elements in an Abridged series that people tend to enjoy, that you see in a lot of them. There's changing the characters around. You can give them the funny voices that you mentioned. There's humorous character traits, like in Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, we have the whole voice-giving super strength. Exactly that. Anything you can do to twist the characters around, make them go crazy with it, that's what I'm saying. There's running gags that you see pop up from time to time. You just don't want to kill the joke by using it too much. Fine line to cross there. References, all sorts of references, you can fit them in wherever they work. Just make sure that you're not trying to force them in. There's making fun of the original show, of course, mocking the dub, pointing out plot holes, anything that the show has done that's ridiculous. Just make sure they know you're well aware of it and say, screw it, we're going with this anyways, it's all in good humor. Breaking the fourth wall is when you just address the audience or acknowledge the fact that you're inside a show. Anyone who's familiar with the Deadpool comics knows what I'm talking about there. It's a pretty common comedic trait. Lampshade hanging, those of you who go to TV tropes know what that term means, but again, that's pointing out anything that's ridiculous or requires one to suspend their disbelief, anything that you want to point out about the show. And of course, it's just making fun of the dubs themselves, anything that they do poorly, you can mock, point out. They give a character a mismatched voice, make it even worse. They try to edit something, edit the hell out of it. Just take anything the dubs do, crank it up to 11. Then there's actually getting into making the Abridged series itself, what actually goes into making them, the step-by-step process. Now, it's different for each abridger, but for me at least, here's what I do when I make an episode of Ranma 1/2, The Abridged Chronicles. So this part's obvious. You gotta watch the episode. I mean, I don't even need to explain this. I'm just gonna skip that part. It's obvious. Go on to the next. This one is also obvious. What the hell was I thinking? Write the script. You don't want to improvise this stuff. You want to actually have something for all the voice actors to read, something to go off of. Make sure you got something polished. I tend to write the script while I'm watching the episode, just so I have all the timing and the scenes, what I want to use fresh in my mind while I'm doing it. Then, of course, there's recording the lines, which can be a time-consuming process if you have multiple voice actors, you need them all in certain places, or you have to send out their lines and wait for them to get back to you. Editing the episode, that tends to be the most time-consuming part because you want to have everything down really fresh. You want the scenes to match up, you want the editing to be right, the lip flaps to match. You don't want to leave any blank spots, any poor editing. It's what really sells the series. Rewatch, review, get opinions, fix whatever needs fixing. You don't want to put something on YouTube if it's imperfect, if it has glaring flaws, if you think you can do better. Because frankly, no matter how good you think it is, people online are going to disagree. You'll get blamed no matter what. In fact, the bigger series tend to get more complaints from people who go, oh, it's not as good as it once was, or, oh, I'm going to prove myself smarter than you by pointing out this thing that you left out of there. But then, of course, there's also the lesser-known series, which just get people saying, you suck. There's nothing wrong with constructive criticism, but if you think something sucks, let them know how to do it better. That's all I'm saying. Publish it to YouTube, hope that it goes over well, rinse, repeat, move on to the next episode. Now, lately, I've had to add some additional steps when I go through the process of making an episode. So these are optional steps that I've had to do. Curse iMovie for crashing and losing hours of work, look into getting a better editing program, complain about it on the internet, figure out a solution, bug my voice actors about getting their lines in, then curse iMovie once again for the next problem it causes. As you can guess, iMovie has caused me a lot of pain lately. And guess what? That's what I still have to use because my computer can't run Final Cut Pro. Kill me. Alright, so it takes about an hour of work to get a minute of the episode done. The other abridgers I've spoken to seem to agree that that's how it generally works, more or less. Because I work with several people, I have to edit the drafts that I get from others, send out the lines to the voice actors, get their lines in, try to make any audio editing that may be needed. So it takes a little more time because I'm working with multiple people. Some of the really good abridgers actually can adjust their voices so much they can do like every character. I cannot. I've got a pretty distinctive voice, so I really have to bring it to extremes. Like when I'm voicing Ryoga, I just gotta try to channel as much manliness as I can into every line. Or for Kuno, I kinda go for the sexy route. Yeah, Kuno is not as sexy as he thinks he is. Alright, so before we go on, do we have any questions from the audience? Anything that you guys would like to bring up or ask about? You don't have any questions. You're working this with me.
Well, I do have a question.
Alright, what's up?
Can I do my Rama voice?
Go ahead.
Up there or right here?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Ranma. You know what it is.
Oh, watch that water. It's really cold, goddammit.
Well,
He does most of the voices in our series. Alright, so this is something that my co-panelists from last year had, which we're keeping because it's actually a good idea. The do's and don'ts of abridging. These are just things to keep in mind while you're working on a series. It's not set in stone, everything is situational, but for the most part, it's good to keep these in mind. Do have a good sense of, my God, this is obvious. Mock the dub, as we've gone over before. No proper pacing, like the timing you were talking about. Very important. You want to have your jokes paced out properly. You don't want to go through your lines so fast that people can't really understand a word you're saying, and it just sounds like a bunch of gibberish. But you also don't want to be like, pausing between every word, man. Unless that's in character, of course. Again, it all depends on the situation. All things in moderation. You don't want to overdo a certain reference, a certain running gag. You don't want to make the same joke too many times or point out the same thing. You want to make sure that you have a little of everything to appease everyone in the audience. Not all people are going to get a certain kind of humor, so you want to make sure that there's something for everyone. Speak clearly. Oh, question? You do, yes, but if you do it right, then you'll have something that'll appeal to most people. So even though they'll miss a few jokes, they'll still get the vast majority of them and enjoy it. It's all a matter of making sure you've got everything right. Make sure it's a good script, good voice acting. If it's a good series, people will enjoy it, even if there's a few jokes that go over their head. Like, for example, when I was writing one of our more popular episodes, because of the Doctor Who jokes I threw in there, Zomgruler had not watched Doctor Who yet, so he wasn't sure if it would work. That's why we had jokes that were non-Doctor Who related as well. So when the episode came together, the Whovians really enjoyed it. The non-Whovians still enjoyed the parts that weren't Doctor Who related. They weren't lost because of those references.
I do watch the show now. It's a great show.
Okay, as I was saying, speaking clearly is one of the things that causes the most re-recordings we've had to take. You know, you think you're saying a line one way, but then you listen to it and it's like, I can't even understand the word I'm saying. Sometimes it helps to get someone else to listen in just so that they can try to understand you without knowing what the script says. But you want people to hear the jokes. You spend a lot of time writing these things. You want to actually be able to hear them. Right. Use music and sound effects wisely and consistently. One of the things that makes series like Dragon Ball Z Abridged stand out way above the rest of them is their brilliant use of sound effects and music. They actually managed to get the sound effects from the episode themselves and put it in at the right timing, so it's not like a stock slapping sound effect when someone's being punched. It's the actual sound effects going through everything in the right order. It's just brilliant the way they managed to do it. Music, it can be really helpful, but you also don't want to overplay it. One of the first mistakes that we made in our first episode, by the way, if you decide to watch Round 1 half of the Abridged Chronicles, I would skip to episode 2. I don't really like our first episode either. But that's because one of the mistakes we made was playing the opening theme for a little too long. We had some nice timing at the beginning, but then we just kept the music going for a little longer than it needed to. You just got to be careful about that sort of thing. And then, aim for perfection. Like I said, you want the best series you can get. Otherwise, you will be torn apart, and frankly, it's no fun to look at your own work and go, what was I thinking? Now we get to don'ts. Don't overuse music, like I was just saying. You want to have proper timing with the music. You don't want to use the same song over and over and over, except for, of course, the opening theme, because that's kind of the intro. You want to pay close attention to lip syncing. Don't ignore that. You want to make sure you match the lip slaps if you either edit to make the lip syncing work or try to make your own lines match the editing. Either way, you want the character's mouth to be moving in time with yours. Do not improvise while recording. It's fine if you have some ideas while you're writing the script or editing or looking things over, but when you're in the middle of recording, things have been edited out and placed in there for you. You don't really want to just throw something in out of the blue, especially if the other voice actors aren't there to work off it. Don't overuse the joke except for running gags, which you want to use for properly. Just make sure that the joke is still fresh. That's either someone playing Pokemon or the Pokemon Abridged series playing in the other room.
Yeah.
They put us up against the Abridged series screening. It completely splits the audience. I hope you guys in there can hear me. We're talking about awesome Abridged series stuff in here. You're missing out. You can watch those online anytime. You can only watch this here.
Well, actually.
Oh. You can watch both of them online, or you can participate in this. They're lost. You guys get to be in an episode, so... Alright. So abridging does not equal fan dubs. Fan dubs are great. They're a lot of fun. But if you're going to do an abridged series, make sure you actually, abridge the series. when it says don't bite the hand that feeds you, that basically means, don't piss off your fans. You can take jabs at the haters or the trolls or even some of the more unfaithful parts of the fan base, but you don't want to say, you guys suck for watching this, because they might agree with you and decide to stop. Don't leave moments of silence. This is another problem I had with our first episode, something that I made a lot of effort to avoid in future ones. You don't want to have any moments of awkward silence unless it's part of the script, like a pause or a beat. But you don't want to just have someone standing there with nothing happening. I mean, it's not funny, just waste time. And if you cut out those moments, you get a lot better timing, much better pacing, just zipping through the episode, getting to the jokes faster. And finally, don't do a half-assed job. Come on, you're putting all the time and effort into making these. It is a lot of work to make a good abridged series. You want to do the best you can. And again, if you don't, you're going to get hell for it. All right, so any questions before we go on to the actual abridging portion of this? Yes?
What is your preferred method of getting the video clips for abridged series?
Good question. So what I usually have to resort to is just ripping the dubbed episode, but unfortunately that results in lesser quality videos. It's best if you can get the best quality video that you can. If you have a DVD ripper, awesome, use that. If you can find a high quality torrent, that's good. You just don't want to have anything with subtitles on it. Fortunately for me, if I use a MKV file, even if it has subtitles, when I convert it into a format that I can edit, it takes the subtitles out. Just the better quality video you can get, the better. Anything else? Alright then, if there are no other questions, let us begin the abridging. So, we'll be doing Mawaru Penguin Drum, and I need 7 volunteers.